Evening, everybody. Welcome to What's on Joe Mind Mail Call. I'm your host, Mike Irizarry, and welcome back. It's been a while since we've done a mail call. Reconfiguring the format a little bit to try and keep these episodes brief, something you can fit into a break and help drive a little traffic towards the team streams on Tuesday nights. Thank you again for all of your support. Really appreciate it. Make sure you let us know what you think of the new format down below in the comments, and again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all those cool YouTube things. We really appreciate it. As always, you're the ones that drive the growth of the channel. We greatly appreciate it. If you have a question for us here on Mail Call, that's the email address you want to send it to. whatsonjoemind@gmail.com. We do have lots of other social media options down there, but this is the best one. That I promise you, we're going to see it if it comes to that email address. Whether it's a mail call question or community calendar or just any kind of correspondence you want to send us, that's the best place to go, bar none. We will probably catch it if you send it to our other social media, but like this is the one that's the most organized and the easiest one to get it all down in video format. So without further ado, let's get to today's question. Howdy. I am just starting to try to pick up retro O-ring G.I. Joes like I had as a kid in the 1980s. Do you have any advice on which online store you think is the best, or any tips on buying them off of eBay? And that's from ToymanDan71. That is at Dan_the_toy_man71 on Instagram. Thanks so much for the question, Dan. We appreciate it. As far as our favorite online stores, honestly, they're pretty well pick one. If you find an online store that has what you're looking for and it's at a price you want to spend, then just go for it. It's pretty rare that the stores out there keep a decent amount of vintage stock on it. It's selling one-off pieces like this that are 35 and 40 years old. It's not the same. I've got a couple of beachheads and they're stuck together. It's not the same as if you're stocking a modern toy with a regular supply and suppliers. They're one-off items and there's a lot of churn there, and every single time it's going to create a new listing, and that's a lot of labor. So what I've found is that most online stores don't keep up with that sort of thing. Take your pick, right? It's usually a little bit better if they're running it through eBay. It's where everybody's going anyway. So that's the one that a lot of folks are. They're the ones that keep the upkeep. Our sponsor, Kokomo Toys, exclusively does online sales through their eBay store. So be sure to check them out as a seller. They do a lot of auctions. They'll start at a penny. A lot of vintage Joe auctions even. So give them a shot and give them a look. Best advice I can give you for non-eBay sales is hit up Google Maps. Type in vintage toys. See what you've got in the area. If you're in even a mid-major kind of city, there's going to be 4 or 5 options available to you. There's going to be flea markets around. There's going to be antique stores around. There's all kinds of places where this sort of stuff might show up. So be sure you give yourself a good lay of the land in regards to what's actually around you. You may be surprised. I have found plenty of good deals in places I was not expecting to find any deals whatsoever. That's the best advice I can give you there. Do the legwork. As far as eBay goes, I do have a pattern, a plan, a process. I'll take you through that. It's a 6-step process. No cool mnemonics, but I just made real basic place cards for you so you can write them down as we go. Step 1 is to prioritize. Figure out which 5, 6, 7, 10 items are just at the absolute top of your list, the ones you have to have the most. Just having a basic idea on what your collection is going to be about is a good idea in general, as opposed to just accumulating stuff. Accumulating stuff is a good way to burn out. But if you have a collection, something that you're cultivating, that's a real good idea. So prioritize what you do want. You may find a Street Fighter 2 fig loose at a garage sale for $10, but if you don't care about those figures, what good does it do you, right? So, prioritize what you want. Try to stick to that. Step 2 is to research. Take that top 6, 7, 10 items on your list. Go to eBay's search function uh, and hit the filters so that you can see what those have sold for in recent times. Get a basic idea on what those things are worth to other buyers, right? Not what folks are asking for it. Make sure that you're checking the sold auctions and not just the completed auctions. Makes a big difference. Say, take for example, like my beachhead collection that we've seen on the show a number of times. A lot of times I'll see listings for those and they're perfectly fine, and they're for $20 or $30 more than I spend ever. Uh, it's not worth checking out at that point. So know what you're looking for and how much you should expect to spend, and then you can figure out how much you want to spend from that. Right? Maybe it's worth a little bit more to you just to get it off your list, so your line's a little higher. Maybe it's not something that you're willing. Maybe that price is a little crazy. Right? Maybe you're going to find something for a little bit less than that, and that's okay too. You may have to wait a little longer. Do your research. Know what you're planning to spend, so that when it lands in your lap, you know what your next course of action is. Step 3 is to locate that item, right? That's the other half. That's finding the live auctions of what you're looking for, and doing that work, right? Uh, there's there's a lot of listings for these figures, especially if you get into the 84 through 88 run, when GI Joe was just annihilating everything else off the toy shelves. People tease me about driving the price of beachheads up, because I've got 80 some of them now, and that it's a drop in the bucket, man. That's probably one of the biggest selling individual figures of the entire line. It was 1986. It was a popular character. There's a ton of them out there. I haven't affected nothing, and there's plenty more of them to get. I promise you, I have not changed the price of beachheads in general 1 cent, unless somebody recognizes me and they try to take me for more, thinking that I'm some kind of rube. But that hasn't happened yet either. Nobody recognizes podcasters. It doesn't work that way. Anyhow, figure out where the stuff is that you want. This plays into the groundwork too, because sometimes you find that antique shop that you weren't expecting to find Joe's in, and they have what you're looking for too. So location isn't just an eBay thing; it can be a physical thing too. Step 4: be disciplined. Right, goes back to what you think something is worth. I have a line on beachhead figures that I have not crossed yet, and I've got 86 of them in hand, and not once have I crossed that line. Swear to God. What you're looking for, you will find it at the price point that you're willing to pay. You may have to wait on a little bit longer. That may not be normal, but I promise you, it'll eventually come around. It may not come through eBay. Maybe it'll come through if you stumble into somebody who's just willing to move their stuff as a lot, or somebody who doesn't know what they have at a garage sale, or something like that. It's out there. There's lots of this stuff. I know these vintage Joes. They're at a point where they're getting pretty old, and some of them are not in great shape, and so they're not as plentiful as they were 20 years ago, but there's still a lot of them. So don't get taken. Don't get in a panic because you haven't picked up your grail item after 2 weeks of looking. Sometimes it takes a little bit more than 2 weeks. Be disciplined. You've done the homework. You've done your research, and stick to it. That said, step 5 or point 5 is to also be flexible. Right? If you decide that Cobra Vipers are your thing and you're going to price these out, you're not going to spend more than $30 for a Cobra Viper, which is a little low, but I can tell you, I've got a number of Cobra Vipers and most of them did not cost me $30. And they're generally in good shape. So they're out there, right? But if you stumble into one at a show and somebody's asking for 40, I mean, you've already spent the gas, right? You've already put in the time. The difference in price is just the money you would have spent in sales tax and shipping off of eBay anyway. So that's a good time to maybe come off of that price number a little bit and be flexible. It's not a bad thing. You haven't sold out. You're doing this because it brings you joy. You have the money to spend. You're not taking money out of your rent or your food budget. This is your leisure money. Have fun with it. If you decide that's I'm done searching for this one, I'm just gonna pay a price on the tag. Go for it. Knock yourself out. It's okay. I know you've done a lot of homework. You put a lot of time into it, but if you decide the search is done, And the search is done, man. Buy it and be happy. And that is step 6, of course, have fun. You can be very, very research oriented and very disciplined, and this thing can just grind to a monotonous halt. And that's just not the point, right? We're here. You said yourself, Dan, you're looking to recreate your childhood. You are picking up the toys that you had when you were a kid. Because you want to have fun. You want to recapture some of that. It's the world through nostalgia colored lenses, and that is great. We've built a whole popular culture on it. And that's wonderful, but don't let looking for these toys ever get to the point where it's not fun for you anymore. So have fun. Don't ever let any of these other rules get in the way of having fun. These old toys are worth exactly what you want to pay for them at the end of the day. That's it. That's the last rule is the most important rule. And that's what we've got. Just one question. We'll do these in quicker hits, shorter bursts to keep them digestible for you. Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment down below. Again, be sure to like and subscribe and do all those cool YouTube things for us. We'll be back with another mail call sometime soon. Keep those letters coming in. Again, our email address, whatsonjoemind@gmail.com. That's where you want to send messages to get yourself on mail call. Be sure to be back with us Tuesday night at 9:05 on the big channel for another What's on Joe Mind team stream. We will see you then. Until then, have a great rest of the week. Go Joe.